Hey guys, and welcome to Untitled Movie Review. I'm Steve and welcome to the show. Today we'll be looking at Mr. Holmes.
Watson wrote the story, but he changed the ending.
So what happened?
I must have done something terribly wrong. I chose exile, but what was it for?
Are you going to go back to the case?
One shouldn't leave this life. That sense of completion.
Mr. Holmes is another film about Sherlock Holmes, and in this film Sherlock is played by Ian McKellan and he is the tender age of 93. The start of the film sees Sherlock return from a trip to post-World War II Japan where he was seeking a remedy for his failing memory. He lives with his new housekeeper, Mrs. Munro, played by Laura Linney, and her son Roger, played by Milo Parker, out in the English countryside. Throughout the film, we see a decline in Sherlock's health and the search for answers in Sherlock's final mystery as a paid detective. Mr. Holmes is a pretty good film. It's a pretty interesting mystery that goes throughout, and there's about 3 different timelines occurring within the same film, and they are tied together quite nicely. I mean, the acting is spot on. Ian McKellen is always on point. I do have one concern, and that is that it really isn't Ian McKellen playing Sherlock. It's Ian McKellen playing Sherlock as Ian McKellen, if you understand. He doesn't really take a break from that Ian McKellen personality. Laura Linney and Milo Parker are pretty good actors, especially Milo Parker, who's quite a young lad, and he does quite well bouncing off of Ian McKellen throughout the film. I think it's quite hard for any studio to bring us something new concerning Sherlock Holmes. We've had so much saturation of media of that character within the last 100 years, especially in film as well. One kind of medium that does it really well is House, and now House was basically a direct inspiration of those novels, and they explored House to a T throughout, something like 200 episodes. So there's plenty stored away there. There is plenty stored away in the movies as well. The Guy Ritchie movies, of course, the olden movies as well, and then you've got Sherlock the series happening at the moment on BBC with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, and that's covering a lot of territory as well, albeit as Sherlock in the modern time. So I suppose another criticism is that Mr. Holmes isn't spectacular. It isn't anything special. It tells a great Sherlock story, and that's about it. But there's no real shocking moments. There's no moments that'll make you remember this movie for what it is. It's a great movie. The performances are solid, and the plot is solid as well. However, there's not enough for the average audience member to go, I could sit down and watch that again. Mr. Holmes is a 6 out of 10.
Sir. No, Roger's been a help to you. He's a good boy. He's always been clever. His dad and I weren't the sort to know the things a boy like Roger takes interest in.
Exceptional children are often the product of unremarkable parents.
I've got a sister. She lives in Portsmouth. A couple of her acquaintances are opening a private hotel there. Say they're willing to take Roger and me on.
You have a sister? Never would have thought it.
Have you seen Mr. Holmes? What did you think? Make sure you leave a comment below. And while you're there, why don't you tell me what your favourite Sherlock Holmes adaptation has been? Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos, and head over to the Facebook page and give that a like as well. Also, don't forget to visit untitledmoviereview.com for all the latest reviews and news. I'm Stephen, and this has been Untitled Movie Review.